Distributed ledger technology in ports and how this technology will impact ports and operations. What is distributed ledger technology? Distributed ledger technology is basically consensus of replicated, shared and synchronized information or digital data over multiple users or groups. Commonly it's referred to as blockchain, but we'll get down to that. Different users can have different permission levels and ability to complete tasks within this network. So if you think of a shipper, they'll create the shipping documents. Customs will be able to view them and sign them. Ports will be able to view them and edit entry times and departure times, when it's put on a ship, how long it's been sitting in a yard for, all of those things that can be added. The ledger is incorruptible and it's impossible to fraudulently alter anything, because all changes to the chain are recorded, so you can go back and it's completely auditable and traceable. So if Bob signs something and then further down the line someone else says, "I know that Bob never signed it," you can go back through and see when it was signed and where and by who. So it's all traceable and auditable. This creates trust, which is one of the major things which shipping is built on. Trust that someone's going to pay for goods delivered. Blockchain is the most commonly referred to system in this space. So think of distributed ledger technology as an umbrella term. Then under that you've got blockchain, holochain, Ethereum, all these other chains. The only difference is how they come to consensus and how they communicate the information. Distributed ledger technology and the Internet of Things. This is where ports can really start unlocking the potential of it, because you can integrate your Internet of Things with checkpoints, cranes, loading, any loading system, and allow it to follow incorruptible rules for ease of tracking, updates to interested parties, and execution of smart contracts. So, for instance, you could have a reader on a bulk discharge belt, which tells you how much has been over that particular point. You can then correlate that with the ship, and you have an accurate automatic update to your contracts, which can then be automatically sort of executed. Part of this also allows for ports to simplify and streamline processes around handling, say containers for instance, which can lead to greater efficiency. This also allows for accurate allocation of resources and services to ports and vessels, because if you know what's coming and you know what it needs to handle it, then you can automatically allocate the correct resources for it. Now in container yards this does happen already, but it still requires a team of people behind it to ensure that it works. Blockchain sort of just improves that efficiency and means that everyone's talking the same language. Distributed ledger technology and port development. Okay, so part of the implementation is to ensure that the holistic view of the supply chain to the port is taken into account. The technology is easier to implement if you're working with a port-centric logistics model already, but it doesn't mean you can't implement it with other types of logistic models. The aim within with using distributed ledger technology is ensuring that the node or the port is efficient and can meet the cargo demands. So efficient means that the correct resources are allocated, trucks are given, ports know where everything is going, they can distribute cargo quickly and efficiently. Faster handling of the vessels due to this prior knowledge and access to information, which can improve the port's ability to increase berth capacity without the need for costly infrastructure. So if you think of it, if you get a container ship alongside which usually takes sort of 12 hours to discharge, and with this new technology you can get it down to 10 hours. That means every 10 ships you'll be able to squeeze one more in, just because of that. So you've increased your capacity, your berthing capacity by 10% without having to build 10% more wharfage, or more than 10% wharfage, because you'll need more than that. As mentioned before, so distributed ledger technology is aimed at increasing port logistics efficiencies. So having that prior knowledge of cargo and clearance statuses, biosecurity risks, required routes to be distributed out from the port, prior to arrival of the cargo in a port. If the port can know this, or the terminal, then proper resources can be allocated to it. Part of this is working towards a fully integrated logistics chain, which can track and monitor all aspects of the transport of cargo. It allows for a leaner supply chain, which means that you can reduce assets or just maintain the same number of assets and have them work harder, and that reduces your costs and improves your efficiency. As mentioned before, it allows for ports to process and distribute cargo quicker, more efficiently, by allowing for cost savings. Due to the transparent nature and traceability within this digital ledger technology or distributed ledger technology, you're reducing the risks and occurrences of fraud and theft within that too. Okay. Which is an IBM and Maersk collaboration. They've developed a company called TradeLens, which is doing wonderful things.
In a recent test by Maersk, shipping a single container of flowers from Kenya to the port of Rotterdam resulted in suspending 250.
Okay, so as we can see that there's a number of good things that come out of using blockchain, reduction in paperwork, uh, all of which improves efficiencies and allows for a more streamlined supply chain, of which ports are a node of, or they're a big enabling node of. So some of the challenges and risks we already touched on. We've got to ensure that the technology is available and processes are understood by all parties. Luckily, with large smartphone adoption, um, and apps generally being quite intuitive, this is and the ability to integrate this into the distributed ledger technology, there's definitely sort of an ease of use around this. Determining standards to ensure compatibility with different systems. So, for instance, there's TradeLens, and there's a couple other systems out there. TradeLens is probably one of the biggest ones at the moment, with Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd and a couple other MSC, I believe, has just come online with it. But looking into sort of standards going around it, currently ISO is conducting a technical committee, number 307, into blockchain and distributed ledger technology to determine the future standards. Part of this is one of the things TradeLens has done is they are using the UNECE terminologies and standards surrounding trade. Another challenge is slow industry adoption and organizational culture around the adoption of new technology. Generally, people are reluctant to sort of overwrite their legacy services until the new technology is proven, especially due to sort of asset cost. And then finally, there's the legal adoption and execution of computer-generated smart contracts. It hasn't really been tested yet, but say a container leaves a terminal and doesn't get recorded, whose fault is that? Is it the ports? Is it the people who produce the scanner? It sort of gets a little bit messy at the moment. Thank you for today, and yeah, to the future.